My boyfriend, 30M, of 16 years won't commit to me. 29F, even in small ways. I am not the oop. Oop is you, throw away half my life. My boyfriend, 30M, of 16 years won't commit to me. 29F, even in small ways. Trigger warning. Infidelity. Emotional abuse. Controlling behavior. Less than. Original post October 27, 2015. Throwaway because boyfriend is a Redditor. I love my boyfriend. We've been together since high school, and when I picture my future, it always includes him. I'm not sure he feels the same way. My boyfriend Rick, name changed, and I live together. In fact, we own a home together. Even though we own a home together and have been together for 16 years, I still feel like just a roommate to him. Like he can't really commit to me. Here are some things he does that kind of make me question whether he's really in this or not with me. Though we live together and own a home together, we keep our bank accounts separate. He also insists on paying the mortgage by himself, with his own account. Every month, I pay some utilities and buy groceries, almost as though I'm paying rent to live in his home. Rick has not allowed me to put any personal touches on our home. Though we've lived in it for a while, it looks the same as when we moved in, with the exception of the room his computer is in, which is decorated to his liking. Every time I mention something we could do, like paint, or show him something I like, he either tells me it's dumb or says he doesn't like it. I don't push him because I don't want to start an argument. Rick and I recently got engaged. Now, I know that doesn't scream commitment issues. But hear me out. A few years ago, a couple of close friends of ours got engaged. I was upset, because I've had to watch all of my friends get married after being with their boyfriends for much shorter periods of time. He caught on to the bad mood I was in during their engagement and wedding, and I told him why I was upset. So a week after their wedding, he agreed to get me a ring. I went with him to buy it. I thought I was finally getting somewhere, but he told me it wasn't an engagement, and that I could wear it, but he'd ask when he was ready. It's like he bought the ring to shut me up about marriage. After months of his friends cracking jokes about our non-engagement, he finally just decided one night while we were at home that it could be official. He said he had a huge plan to surprise me to propose, but I never heard anything else about it. It wasn't my dream proposal, but it was finally happening, so I said yes. He insisted on a long engagement, at least a year, and didn't want to set a date. At first I began planning and looking at wedding stuff because I figured it would eventually happen, but he never seemed interested. It's been about 6 months and we've picked a date, with much pushing on my part, but he wants nothing to do with any wedding planning unless it's to voice his dislike of something I've done. He spends most of his days on his computer when he's not at work, and if he does happen to come out to see me, he goes right back shortly after if I so much as bring up the wedding. He has very strong opinions about what our wedding shouldn't be, but doesn't want to talk about the wedding at all to give me an idea of what he does want. Every idea I have for the wedding gets shot down. It's almost as though he's trying to stop the wedding from ever happening by making sure I can't plan it. He told my close friend's husband, their friends, that he regrets proposing because I've been going crazy about the wedding, and that he wouldn't have proposed had he known what I was going to act like. Like what? He's surprised that wedding planning takes place after you get engaged. I don't think I'm going overboard about any of it, but it's a huge deal to me. I've spent over half of my life with this man and I've always dreamed of a huge wedding. I just don't know what to do. It's like he agrees to commit to me in certain ways, but when it comes to actually doing anything concrete, he can't do it. It's hard to talk to friends about it because the ones who do know the whole situation think he proposed just to get everyone including me, off of his back about it. What do you guys think? TL. Dr. BF, fiancé of 16 years has no problem agreeing to commit to me. But when it comes time to actually do it, he's flaky, reserved. I feel more like a roommate than his future wife. Relevant comments, additional info from Oop. This is honestly what hurt the most. That he told mutual friends of ours that he essentially doesn't want to marry me. I'm afraid that he proposed because our family and friends were always asking when it was going to happen. It got to the point that when we would visit his family, they'd ask us, "So did it happen yet?" And we'd know they meant an engagement. I worry he's with me because we have a semi-open relationship, and he doesn't think he can find another woman who'd agree to that. I don't think I'm explaining it right, but essentially we can sleep with other people as long as we're both there. OOP on whose idea it was for the open relationship. It was his idea, and now I think it may have been his way of getting the best of both worlds without having to commit to either. Update November 9, 2015. I just wanted to thank every one of you who took the time to read my first post and for all of the support I've received since. A lot has happened in the last couple of weeks, so I figured I'd post an update. I hired a lawyer and moved out one day while Rick was at work. Because my name is on the title and the mortgage, my lawyer assures me he either has to sell the house and split the profit with me, or buy me out. I know he can't afford to buy me out, so I assume we'll put it up for sale. I get most of my things out of the house, except for a vanity and a dresser that are too heavy for my friends and I to move. I moved out the day before Halloween. Since then, I've messaged Rick a few times to see what we're going to do about the house and to schedule a time to come pick up the rest of my furniture. He's pretty evasive about all of it. So last Thursday I showed up at the house with some friends to help me get my stuff. He's changed the locks, so I can't get in. We wait for him to get off of work and come back, and he lets me in to get my stuff. All he said before he let me in was, "You asked for this." So I don't want to hear it. I didn't know what he meant. I was absolutely not prepared to walk through that door. But when I did, it became obvious why he didn't want me to come pick up my stuff. I didn't even recognize the house that I lived in just a week prior. It was painted. There was furniture and art and things everywhere. And I could tell by looking around that Rick didn't do this by himself. There are pictures of him and some woman all over the place. They have to go back at least a year, because one of them was taken on New Year's. Though I couldn't tell what year. I just left. I can buy more furniture, but I couldn't spend a second more in that house. Rick texted me right after I left saying, "We're not selling. We're just going to buy you out." I was at a complete loss for words. I'm still in shock. I spent 16 years with that asshole, and he was with someone else for who knows how long. I'm trying to get over it the best I can. But it's hard. It would be hard leaving just because we've been together so long. But to find out that your life was pretty much a lie was a hard pill to swallow. What hurts even more is that for years I tried to decorate my house to make it a home and he wouldn't let me. She couldn't have lived with him for more than a week, and the house already looks different. I honestly don't know how I was so blind. But I'm glad I got out when I did. Even if he did waste half of my life. TL. Doctor. I ended a 16-year relationship because my fiancé is seemingly uninterested in committing to me, only to find out that he was dating someone while we were together. And they've now moved into our home together. Edit to add mini update. I just want to thank everyone again for all of their support. A lot of you pointed out that my name would still be on the mortgage even if I sell. So I've decided not to sign the paperwork accepting the buyout. Rick was not okay with this, and has been blowing up my phone ever since he found out today, calling me a petty bitch. and that I was just trying to ruin his life because he was finally happy. I know they're both pissed off because they put a lot of effort into the home in the short time since I've left. And honestly, I kind of feel better that they won't be able to enjoy it. I know it sounds terrible, but making this harder on them is making me feel better about the entire situation. For the majority of our relationship, I felt like he was always the one in control of everything. It's nice to have the final say. I know I've said a lot how he's wasted half of my life. And I'd like to clarify that I don't think I'm too old or that it's too late for me. Just that I couldn't understand why this man would string someone along for as long as he did. He's pretty much all I've known. And it took a lot for me to leave him. I feel like I've missed out on a lot of the dating experience. But I think I'll be okay. I'm just going to enjoy being alone for right now. Since I moved out, I've been staying with a friend. I signed a lease for a one-bedroom apartment today. So by this time next week I'll have my own place. I've already bought a bunch of things to decorate it with, and I didn't have to get anyone's permission to do so. Relevant comments from Oop. On if the other woman knew about her. I'm not sure if she knew about me. She knows I'm the ex now, and I own half of the house. Though I'm not sure she's aware of how recently we were together and I was living there. Last New Year's Eve I was out of state because my mother was in the hospital. Before that, I had a job managing in retail, and I typically always had to work either late into New Year's Eve or early New Year's Day. The picture could have been taken between 2011 until this last New Year. I'll definitely be going back to get my furniture. I was just so shocked at the time that I couldn't be there. When I get really angry I cry, and I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. When told that as long as her name is on the mortgage, she can't be barred from the home. I don't know why I didn't think of this. It didn't even cross my mind to mention to my lawyer that he's been preventing me access to a home I own. I'm definitely going to speak to my lawyer about making sure I get a new key and making sure she can no longer live there. I don't care how vindictive that sounds. I've earned the right to be a little vindictive. This is a repost sub IAM, not the Oop. How does one even have the energy to keep going like this? Fighting so hard to make sure she doesn't know, and fighting so that she can't personalize anything. To keep a relationship that doesn't make you happy while knowing you're just kicking the can down the road. Meanwhile, keeping a full-ass relationship on the side. I bet he never let her decorate or personalize their house so that the women he brought over while she was at work wouldn't know he was in a serious relationship. This entire thing is just sad. What a massive asshole. I can't imagine how painful it must feel that you've been in relationship for 16 years and all of the effort and commitment is just thrown out of the window because of a jerk. I wish Op well for the future. OMG, this is a few years old too. I would love to know how Op is going. Damn. Scenarios like these scare me from getting into relationships. It's not the only reason, but the possibility gives me anxiety. Cheaters are really built different because WTF 16 years? LMAO, what the hell, this is actually wild. But now I think about it, my friend almost ended up in this situation, so now I can see how it would happen. Sounds like he was too lazy to break up with her or he wanted to be the victim of the situation. So he just dragged his feet hoping she would get sick of it or give up and break up with him. These dudes out here are literally too lazy to work out how to break up with someone. Really hoping Oop sees her old posts and comes back for a final update. I don't even know what to do with this. I get that men more often than women won't initiate the breakup and just let things fall apart. But his dude was trying to get her to break up with him for years. I'm not defending a damn thing this dude did. He's a spineless weasel. But Christ, Oop is really naive. It might as well have been. My BF Rick says he really wishes I would break up with him. Should I break up with him? Yes. Yes, you should. You should have years ago. Damn. Reading Oop's comment, talking about them being on and off in the beginning. Every time she would start dating someone else when they were split, he would get jealous and come back around. Dude has been playing I don't want you but I don't want anyone else to have you since high school. I'm sorry, but the lawyer doesn't sound great if she's getting all these ideas from Reddit. This was heartbreaking. Hope she's doing well and has a better life. Even though we own a home together, I pay some utilities and buy groceries. Almost as though I'm paying rent to live in his home. How many times did that boss bring that woman to their house? To their bedroom? Making sure the place was plain so the woman didn't know. I'm glad Oop is a badass and making it so he can't pull this off. None of his friends knew? Mistress didn't wonder why she couldn't meet his friends. To all the people reading this, if your BFGF has been with you for over 7 years and they are not actionably moving towards being with you in a more serious way, move on. It will never happen. Only exception is if after 7 years you guys are still in early 20s or whatever. But like this BS right here? 16 years of dating? 16 years of stupidity. Not calling op stupid, by the way. Just the situation is absurd. I'm petty as hell. If I was the owner, I would inform my lawyer that an unauthorized tenant has moved in without a co-signed tenant agreement with both owners, and I would be requiring either her to move out immediately, or I get a lease, where I get half of the rent for that place she's moving into until I can force a sell. Also, as a co-owner, no changes can be made to my dwelling without written consent. So all walls will need to be painted back immediately to the exact same shade of white. All holes drilled for curtains and such need to be removed and professional fixed. And the locks will need to be changed to prevent that squatter from coming back before the tenant agreement can be drafted. The entire ending to this is just evil cackle. I don't even see why the dude didn't just break up with Oop. He moved the other girlfriend in and decorated the house in about 30 seconds so he has no issues jumping into that commitment. It would have been a lot less of a hassle to just split up. I'd be willing to bet my hat that she did the vast majority of the cooking, cleaning, and shopping. He didn't love her but didn't want to part with his mommy bangmaid until something better came along. What an absolute lowlife scum. The relationship sounded exhausting to begin with. Always having to beg for commitment is not true commitment. Also, she mentioned briefly, but what is a semi-open relationship? Was he allowed to date or sleep with someone outside of the relationship? And he secretly made her the main partner? Oh, I'd let the other woman live there. When I'd go over to the house for whatever petty reason, I'd be sure to compliment her on her decorating skills. Something like, I tried for years to get him to let me decorate, so I'm very impressed with what you put together after me being gone for only a week. Quote, essentially put her on notice that she wasn't special until you decided this relationship was over.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.